Yep, time to mosey on out of here.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Mobile Suit Gundam. This time it's IGLOO, because if you didn't know, this is part of an ongoing series of Universal Century Gundam that we're doing in a chronological order, and it's to my knowledge that IGLOO takes place towards the start of 0079 versus the other shows which take place further along. This takes place right after we had gotten done watching Doan's Island, so we have some comments, some notes, and a board to go over regarding that first before we jump into the first episode. So I guess first off we should probably do the board. Well, the board changelog isn't as involved as the board is, obviously, because I didn't list every little thing there. I've got 2 lines on the board changelog. One is that I added Conscan to Origin, because I noticed him in the episode 5 meeting and confirmed it was him.
Missed him.
Conscan here, who is weirdly not loaded on my screen. There we go. Conscan over here. As everyone should know.
Yeah.
Where is he? Down here. Conscan.
Right by you. Yeah,
Down
right by
here as
you,
well.
yeah.
No, I was finding him on the other one. You're talking about up there.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, of course, added Doan's Island movie to the board with all the characters and connections and whatnot.
There's a lot of kids.
Yep, that we'll never see again.
I hope they lived happily ever after that island.
We'll never know.
Yeah. Lego Law, the man that lost his head.
But yeah, that is the board. As per what I do with the other shows, hopefully future me remembers to add a link to the an image of the board in the description of the video. That's what I've been doing, so you're not beholden to just whatever's going on down here in the overlay.
Let me ask you: is Olsen a new character for the movie, or is a character that came from the original?
Here's here's the thing that I'll say without any knowledge off the top of my head, because obviously we're recording this early in the morning on my end. If you hit Control F and type his name, you'll see if he has any other appearances on this whole board.
Just the one.
I would argue that he probably isn't a new character. That he's probably in a manga or something somewhere.
Same thing with Amor Fang.
Sorry, who?
Amor Fang. There's Olsen and then Amor Fang is right there.
Oh, sorry, you said Amor Fang, and I'm thinking that's a name that sounds very familiar. I'm probably thinking of Fang Li from Origin.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's right beside Olsen. Also Barbara as well.
No, Amor Fang is the bomb guy, remember?
Oh, he's...
Yeah, he's from the show. I'm like, that name sounds very familiar, so I did the Control F thing and found that he has 2...
Yeah, I didn't recognize his Control F. So for Barbara.
I mean, some of these characters are only in the movie. Some of them didn't even have listings, though, on the behind the voice actor, like Kai's gang. Kai's gang makes an entire appearance. I had to go through and find like the best shots of them appearing in the background. That's also when I recognized that Conscan was back in episode 5 of Origin, because I was rewatching episode 5 of Origin, as I do, and realized, wait a second, this other guy who's sitting on the panel of like admirals or whatnot, he looks really familiar. Is that Conscan? Just the whole element of the more show we watch, the more I can go backwards and see who's appearing in scenes that they just got no credits for.
Interesting. Tita. I guess that would be short for Antonia. All these names seem either to be Spanish of the kids, either Spanish or Portuguese. So I guess that's where Doan rescued them. There was an attack on Spain, on Spanish cities or towns, and he destroyed one of them, and he saved the kids afterwards and defected.
Could be. I mean, not
Well,
too
he
far
went
from
AWOL.
Europe.
He didn't defect. Yeah, he didn't defect. So, and the islands are implied to be in the Canary Islands. So yeah, not that far away.
I knew. Actually, well, sorry. Let's just go into my notes because my notes have this information, and I don't remember off the top
Yeah.
of my head, and I don't. I could see the answer to your question on like one of my top notes here, but I don't want to just break down a note before we get to it.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
All right. We'll just start down the line because we know you don't have any notes. The appointment orders. Behind Bright in one of the scenes, I was pointing out that there's something you could read on the wall behind him, and I said I was going to do so when I took my notes. Those are his appointment orders. Lieutenant Commander Bright Noah, as of November 10, Universal Century 0079, you are appointed as captain of Earth Federation Forces Aviation Cruiser Pegasus. November 7th, Universal Century 0079, Johann Ibram Revel.
Oh, so he got a promotion again. I think they do mention he got a double promotion in this show. In the movie.
Well, it's not even that. It's that in the movie, it's called Pegasus. Pegasus isn't the class. Pegasus is the name.
But
you remember that was one of the original changes that they made. That before it was going to be the Pegasus, I don't remember what class it was going to be at that time, but then they changed it to Pegasus class and they called it White Base.
Oh.
So in the movie, it's called Pegasus,
which would fit the old, the Trojan horse motif even better, right?
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, technically they're still using Pegasus in the show. It's just a Pegasus class. So I don't know that it changes how well it's used.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm thinking about because.
No, I mean the theme that you're talking about. I don't know how well that changes how well it's used, the theme, because it's still conceivably from the Xeon side of things, they would know what class of ship it is if they're like stealing intel. So they're still using the idea that it's a mythical horse thing. And I don't know. I don't know how much an enemy force would be using the name of a thing rather than saying, "Oh, there's a Pegasus class in the area."
Well, if we're going with classification names, a little bit of history. Classification names started in World War II, mostly by the Allies to designate Japanese aircraft because they didn't know the original names of the aircraft. So, they call them Zero, etc. But when they didn't know the names of, say, German aircraft, they just used the German aircraft. When World War II ended and the Cold War started, that spread to other things like submarines and even aircraft. It was like, NATO standard would say all fighter aircraft were named, with an F, like Fencer and Fulcrum. And yes, there is one they would call Faggot. That's just the way it is, right? And bombers would have a B name, like
the point I was getting to is more so the element of you would want to know more that there's 5 destroyers in the area.
Yeah.
Then there's like 5 battleships in the area, and more so than knowing that that's the Yamato. That it's more important to know strategically what you're going to get into a fight with. Now, the longer a war goes on and the longer a certain ship might survive battle to battle, it might become a storied thing. Oh, there's 5 battleships out there, and one of them's the Yamato. That might be a thing.
Well, I would counter that because the Yamato specifically was a very powerful ship.
Yeah, I know. It beats itself, uses artillery at the end of the war. I'm not pointing that out. I'm just saying using a ship name that people know for the purposes of my example It's like saying, oh no, it's the Bismarck, and you point out, oh, actually the Bismarck lost its rudder during most of the fight. It just got shot at. Not actually that important of a ship, if you think about it. And I'm not arguing that. I'm just arguing a name people would know. Apparently, there was an assault on Gibraltar that happened before the Battle of Edessa, which is where Doan's Island is positioned in this timeline.
So, I mean, technically, it's interesting because I don't know how the future history still shapes up. Gibraltar he is still part of Britain, but geographically part of Spain, or because we have an Earth government, it doesn't matter, right? It's just it all belongs to the Earth government anyway. So, those geographical divisions don't matter
Arguably,
as
they
much.
didn't belong to the Earth government because there was an assault on it by the Earth government, which means
I
that
mean,
it
it was
would have been in
probably
Zeon's hands.
captured. Yeah, it would have captured by sea, but I'm talking before that, and that would explain.
I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with any of this. What
No, but I'm trying
country it belonged to really has no bearing on the fact that it gets captured by Zeon, and then a United Earth Defense Forces has to take it back. I think the political situation of what country owned it in the future history, as you said, doesn't really have any bearing on that element of the timeline.
But it would explain why the kids are the names of the kids, because probably a lot of the Spanish names or English names, either way. I think that's
No,
why.
you're tying it into what you were talking about before, but I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I don't know that Doan had anything to do with that. I'm saying this is memory now, that the Earth forces assaulted Gibraltar. You would be talking about who Zeon assaulted, because that would involve who Doan attacked to then get those kids back from safety. So that's not this.
Oh.
Funny thing about the scope of the movie that I didn't get while watching it, they show us that the white base is parked at Los Palmos, then while Bright is getting the orders to take care of the situation on, oh no, I've forgotten how to pronounce things. I'm just going to paste this to you and you say it.
Alegranza.
We had shown a map of the area with a dotted line passing through it. I had assumed the dotted line as the projected path everyone was moving on, but it can't be. The map they showed was of Los Palmos Islands themselves. They are already there. More than that, though,
Alegranza
is a part of the Los Palmos Islands. They are literally hopping a couple of islands over to see what's going on. The distance between White Base and a stranded Amuro is 145 miles, 233 kilometers, for those of you who use that.
I mean, it's one of the things that if it's still enemy territory, you still be dangerous. They can get shut down or something. So,
well, it's not technically enemy territory. I mean, maybe it is for them. We know it's just Doan and one Zaku. But again, it's the idea that, oh no, Amuro's stranded, and it's literally like if you were like vacationing at Hawaii and you lost a family member on an island, and it turns out they were just on the next island over. That's where Amuro is.
Well, okay, here's the thing. And this is when you talk about island chains. Navigating between islands can be particularly treacherous.
Again, they are all flying machines.
Yeah, but if they did, because the movie starts with Doan taking down a couple of GMs. So they're like, this is probably hostile territory, either way. And if he's taking like a boat, we're not talking about, like crossing a lake here. It's the deep ocean. So yeah.
Again, all flying machines. Doan didn't take them out in a flying machine. Doan took them out because they were landed on the ground in his Zaku. Remember, he only has the Zaku.
Yeah, but he had a gun, didn't he? No, he had a heat axe, I think. Because he could shoot down something with the Zaku.
I don't think he's taking down the white base in this Zaku. Again, I don't know why we're having a debate about this. My whole thing was pointing out he's only 145 miles away.
Yeah, but once
The
you
way
get
that
an
we
island,
keep pivoting back and forth between Amuro and Bright on the White Base, you'd think that they were like that he was somewhere in Europe and White Base was somewhere in South America, but they're literally just an island over. The lighthouse in the movie is a real place called you know what? Passes over to you again because I am gonna get it wrong.
Punta Delgada Lighthouse. Okay.
Constructed in 1865 and is listed as a monument of cultural interest since 2002.
Yeah, it basically literally means Skinny Point Lighthouse.
Well, I'm just saying, if you look it up on Google Maps, you can actually find the actual lighthouse on that actual island.
Delgado.
Something that struck me about when they first landed on the island is the whole sense of mystery about what's going on. They are doing recon, and I do plenty of I don't have a good feeling about this moments. But not once does anyone mention Minovsky particle densities or difficulty with communications. We know Doan is nearby in Hisaku. There should be all sorts of obvious complications alerting everyone that a Minovsky reactor is nearby and what that could imply.
Oops. I mean, yeah, you run everything with Minovsky particles, so they would have probably that's why I attracted them to the island in the first place. They were detecting some Minovsky particles.
But again,
Whatever
they're
is still doing
building a
it, right?
mystery, but they're not like implying what the mystery could mean for the purposes of building a mystery. You know, it'd be
Yeah.
like if every slasher movie guy had the obvious scent of blood and gore on them, and you're like, I don't know what happened here. Smells like blood. You know, it should be something. And Minovsky particles are always that in Gundam. There should always be, I don't know what took out these general models. Maybe it was a monster. Sir, there is a heavy Minovsky particle reading in the area, or a mobile suit. It instantly defeats the mystery because you know that there's a mobile suit or something out there that uses a Minovsky reactor. Interestingly, when Rebel is talking to Elrin about White Base, Elrin feigns ignorance to. Sorry, you messed me up. I posted the image. I'm trying to read, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, what the fuck did he post? I already told you that I looked it up. I know what the island looks like. Well, we also saw a movie that involved
Yeah,
it.
but they actually used the actual island.
I know.
now.
That's what I just said. If you look up the island on Google Maps, you can literally find the lighthouse. I just told you I'd already looked at the island. That's how I know it was real. That's how I know that Amuro is only 145 miles away from Los Palmos port, because I fucking measured it on Google Maps.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're so interested, but I literally just told you that I know already. Interestingly, while Rebel is talking to Elrin about White Base, Elrin feigns ignorance, and to clear things up, Rebel calls it the Trojan Horse, which Elrin then recognizes. Except Zeon is the one that calls it the Trojan Horse. This is like in Inglourious Bastards when they give themselves away by using the English hand gesture for the number 3 rather than the German way of doing it. Elren really is just the worst spy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although
I wish I had a better
he
example of that, but it's just like if I was telling you this very English thing, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, and then I was like, I give you the German name for it, and you're like, oh, there's that, and it's like,
yeah,
very
what?
suspicious that you only know the German name for it.
Yeah.
Here in World War II.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think is Elrond a spy in this scenario because the whole thing happens with
His
the nuke
character's
and
not
everything else.
changed.
Yeah.
The timeline might be changed. It doesn't change the fact that he is working for Kycelia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doan figured out how to do everything with the Emerv by using the books. Principles of guided missile design, on the disassembly of machinery, fundamentals of missile defense, and ballistic missiles and control systems. I read all the sleeves of the books. Or the... Sorry, now I'm forgetting the name of the...
Cover?
Binding? No. What? No, this very specific
spine.
Spine. That's the
Spine,
word I couldn't
yeah.
think of. One last stupid point, but the end credits imply that they celebrated Julian's birthday after the movie, and he did in fact get ice cream. They also had cake, and it cooked a dolphin fish.
Dolphin fish are edible? I guess they are.
They had a whole conversation about it earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And we had an argument about when he celebrated the birthday. All right, my last note here. Watching it again to make the board and to take these few notes got me all teary-eyed. The same sadness I was mentioning during our reaction, but it hit harder because that's how I am watching stuff alone. The sadness of not getting more of the story, of spending all this time with these characters and knowing that they won't be showing up ever again. The episode they are based on was removed from the rotation, and this movie came out in 2022, so no chance for their inclusion in anything. Meaning all the possibility that exists for the characters in other shows we are watching to grow up and to appear in other media as time goes on is absent for these characters. And I guess that's the saddest thing of all.
I mean, we did get a movie in 2022, which is, considering that was from an episode that literally was removed from the original series, and they went back and said, okay, we're going to make an entire movie about this. That's pretty good.
From a director that said they wouldn't be doing anything anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure they have someone else.
And not for nothing, but sorry, spoiler. So I can't retract that. I guess other thought also is that Doan's Island replaces one of the episode 15 characters. Green-haired girl from the original episode 15 is replaced by a different green-haired girl with a different name. Conceivably also with a different backstory, so...
Who seem to either get a crush on Amuro or on Doan?
I would assume Doan, but then again, I think the original girl also had a crush on Doan, so...
Yeah, but she appeared to be a little younger.
Hard to tell, different art styles.
Yeah.
Well, those are all my notes. Do you have any thoughts about the movie you want to throw out there here at the...
I really liked it, although it had a stronger... So, I mean, it's supposed to be very serious, but the art style and all that, because they made the characters even... I said more agitated, really. They're more animated in this style of origin, right? And therefore, it kind of came off a little bit more comedic, even though it's supposed to be more serious. We talk about nukes and destroying entire cities and all that, not just the one nuke, right? Which was pretty silly the first time around, but, a nuke is a nuke. But overall, I liked it, right? Slayer Law comes back and does nothing. Well, no, actually, Slayer Law is a better character here than he was in the original. Even though when it came to actual fighting, he added nothing. It's like...
Because instead of lazing around and doing nothing until the fight happens, and slapping people in the face, he's actually organizing stuff to aid everybody.
And he's actually coordinated with Bright, because Bright is like, because the thing I didn't get about when he says to Kai, are you willing to get court-martialed? Kai's like, ugh. And he's not asking as in, if you do this, you'll get court-martialed. Don't do it. It's like, what are you willing to risk for your friend? And when Kai and the other ones get it, it's like, this is what he was getting at, right? And when he was like, when he went to, what's her name? Oh my God.
Sayla. I want to ride on your back, slaps him in the face. Yes.
Yeah. He doesn't even flinch. He's like, yeah, it was worth it. And then she's like, that's what you meant. It's like, yeah, that's what I meant. Writing on I didn't mean anything by it, But, because Slayer Law in the problem with Slayer Law in the original is that he was a character, I guess, was always meant to die. He was a sacrificial lamb. So he comes in, shows up. We have this new character. Boom. He's dead. And it's like, this, Mirai's in love with him for whatever reason, because he punches ex-fiancée, but gently enough that he didn't crack the back of his head, I guess.
Well, also they were like in a low gravity environment, so he gets punched and he's launched real slow. Now, I would argue that Slayer in Doan's Island is probably the result of time. Slayer Law in the original is a product. He's a 70s guy. He is a 70s guy of a certain build. And Slayer Law in the movie has had time to marinate. He's probably had a couple of manga series where he's been given a chance to do stuff. People had a chance to realize what kind of character he should be with a new perspective. based on time.
So yeah.
Also,
I
they've got
think
a
the
character
movie.
to compare him against.
What
A
do you
real
mean?
fucker.
Oh, that's what it says in this aircraft.
What I'm saying though is that they get to see character archetypes that are what they intended
Mhm.
Slayer to be done better, and they can kind of change them a bit.
Yeah, I just
All right, well we have
overall.
we got comments. Denane from Patreon, from Doan's Island, obviously. Your list order of, for the 0079 side stories is pretty much the best way to arrange them for chronological viewing. There's also the official UC timeline guide from Sunrise that they released last year at New York Comic Con when they came over to the States to promote their recent additions to the timeline, Requiem of Vengeance and Silver Phantom. It's also worth checking out since it goes over what's considered UC and what's considered alternate. Another reason I bring it up is because they added 2 series, G-Reco and Turn 8. Turn 8, I meant Turn A. That were always being debated on if they were truly part of the UC timeline due to the many different answers Sunrise gave throughout the years before finally settling on them being officially part of the Universal Century when they dropped this timeline. And recently, Sunrise reconfirmed that stance last month at a UC Creators Talk on the Japanese Gundam YouTube channel. And I will point out that G-Reco and Turn 8 have always been on our watch order, so wasn't even debate for us.
Turn 8 again. Turn 8 again. Yeah.
You actually had one of the series as an option in a poll a while back, Turn A, when planning your next Gundam reaction, which I think Gundam Seed won. So since you are doing a chronological watch order, I wanted to let you know that it's been absorbed into the Universal Century timeline, and you don't watch it much earlier than intended. I think they may warn us not to watch it much earlier than intended.
Yeah.
And as I already pointed out, it's in the watch order already. So, also regarding on why some things from the this film don't align perfectly with the show/film is due to the director, Yas, using his own version of the events of 0079, which is the origin manga. But that's not to also say that this film is set in the origin manga continuity either. When in the process of making this film, Yashukyo followed what he started with the Origin OVA prequel, and yes, it's a prequel to the original series, despite what some fans say. Confirmed by Yas on the official OVA site and recent timeline from Sunrise. And that was using his manga as the basis. But despite using the manga's worldview, he was still adamant that it wasn't Origin and went as far as removing the name out of the title to further demonstrate that. Again, even if the film doesn't connect perfectly with what was shown in the original series, Sunrise was fine with it since they don't have a strict continuity when it comes to the Universal Century timeline ever since they made the both versions of 0079 equally canon. At the time of release for this film in 2022, there was an interview with the main Gundam producer over at Sunrise, Naohiro Ogata. Sorry, I added a word there. I don't know why I said that. Naohiro Ogata, saying how he would like to have various directors follow the approach they set with the film of maybe turning their favorite episodes or even the episodes that they couldn't cover in the movie trilogy into full-blown films instead of simply remaking the entire OG series. He also stated that the success of this film would be the first step in realizing an adaptation of each episode. But since then, it seems like they have moved away from that idea altogether, having Ogata later state this in a translated interview from Zeonic Scanlations for the 45th anniversary.
So your idea that you wanted episodes to be made into movies was a thing that was already an idea.
Yeah, and then they dropped it, apparently.
Well, probably for the same reasons I said, that it would probably be very expensive to make every single episode. Or at least they can go through some episodes, right? Especially the weaker ones, like Time
I
Be
mean,
Still
even
or
if it was
something like
expensive to do,
that. Mhm.
then make them good enough. Make them good enough that they bring money back. Like,
Well, I
didn't
mean,
do the
you
box
you
office numbers here of how much money Doan's made,
mhm.
but I mean, looking at G-Quicks, the recent
Mhm.
one, which was like #1 in the box office for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Sorry, actually, it was #1 in the box office for 2 weeks. It dropped to #2 in week 3.
Still pretty good for an animated film. Although in Japan they tend to do better.
All right, another one from Denane from the Patreon, from Encounters in Space / Zeonic Front. The cutscenes from the first video you watched originally came from Mobile Suit Gundam 1995, a side-scrolling game for the Sega Saturn. The footage would later be recycled for other games that covered 0079, like Journey to Jaburo and Encounters in Space for the PS2. The cutscenes were also worked on by Toshihiro Kawamoto. Sorry, I struggle with Japanese names. It's weird. I watch anime so much. Who was the character designer and animation director on some of Sunrise's most popular 90s OVAs / shows, like Cowboy Bebop and 8th MS Team. It was a real treat for fans of those works to see first Gundam in a similar art style of those shows.
I mean, those are pretty cool looking shows, and they have gorgeous action sequences. So yeah.
Well, it's like when we watch the updated SDF Macross opening from the
Yeah.
video games versus the original SDF Macross opening itself. It's just nice to see the things get updated. And lastly, we have from Necromancer 1983X from Mobile Suit Gundam, The Battle of Odessa. Rewatched Eureka 7 a few year ago, watching more Gundam. I never noticed its many Gundam references, like the 3 kids on the ship, and the reason that they're on the ship, Doan's Island flashback. I can't remember if Renton's dad, Adrock, appeared in the original show, but watching Eureka 7 High Evolution 0, I was amused to hear him voiced by Amuro Ray / Turo Furuya. Double Z Gundam is a good show. I prefer it to Zeta, personally.
I haven't watched any of them, so we'll see.
All right, well, that's everything then. If you don't, I mean,
No. But I mean, my nine is I'm waiting for Double C and Zeta, and all the other shows in the UC Century, which is a lot, and movies and the like. I have watched IGLOO, which we're gonna do shortly, and IGLOO. Okay, let me jump in, and now that I'm talking IGLOO,
don't spoil it.
without spoilers. Without spoilers, it's CGI. It's all CGI, and it's 1990s, early 2000, 1990s style CGI. So it's a choice.
Roughnecks.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Time to get
But
some Roughnecks, Starship Troopers, CGI,
yeah,
which I
but that
watched and
actually
I had
was a
no
good
problem
show.
with it.
It was a good show, and overall I think you might enjoy this.
I feel
I'll
like there
leave
are
you
some
to it.
spoilers in what you're saying here. One thing, if I didn't know it was CGI, you've ruined that reveal. But of course I know because we have like little thumbnail images that show us.
Yeah.
Also, you're throwing out, but that was a good show, implying that we're about to watch real shit.
No. I'm saying I'm comparing favorably both of them.
No. I said Roughnecks. The Starship Troopers thing. You said, yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You started saying we're about to watch IGLOO, and he said, I said Starship Troopers. You said that was a good show, implying comparatively.
Well, you misunderstood me. I misspoke. I like Roughnecks and I like IGLOO. So that's what I wanted to say.
All right. Well, I guess without anything else, let's go ahead and hop on in and see what. Well, let me see what IGLOO is about.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, If you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Hello. Interesting. Well, I guess because Gundam is their biggest franchise, that Haruben only became the mascot for Gundam, but for Fun Sunrise. Lens flare.
Jotunheim. I've thought about doing that with Star Trek before. You know,
these guys are
TNG, Voyager, and DS9 have overlap.
These guys are just floating around. I hope they have some way of, retro rocket or something, or somebody's gonna.
I did not expect this font.
The Vanishing Serpent of Loum.
I feel like we're watching Legends of Galactic Heroes.
Yeah.
I guess mixed with a little bit of Terminator or
Yeah.
James Bond. I can't tell.
Yeah, IGLOO is interesting. Let's put it
When
that
in
way.
doubt, do the fascist salute sideways across the screen.
Yeah, Obata Masayoshi or Masayoshi Obata.
Goldfinger.
I mentioned him because you mentioned him earlier, so
Yeah. Well, that guy is getting eaten by
that guy
bugs.
is. He has emotions, I do like the music. Too bad we can't. We have to talk over it though.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of why doing the rewatch. Well, not the whole point. That's also a reason
Yeah.
to do the rewatch.
Yeah. Mhm.
MS IGLOO. IGLOO
Mobile
is my
Suit IGLOO.
favorite character.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Lou,
Mhm.
especially in the bathroom. Humans began colonizing space. The calendar was changed to the Universal Century Era. Side 3 declared its independence. The Republic of Xeon was established. The Earth Federation government invoked economic sanctions against Side 3. The existence of Monopsky particles confirmed the Principality of Xeon declared. Principality of Xeon announced a state of national mobilization. Should have been reading the numbers. I realized I was going way too slow, apparently. Technical Evaluation Unit.
We're back to space noids.
Well, we always were.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what this is? This isn't even Starship Troopers. This is Spirits Within,
Yeah.
the Final
that was
Fantasy
one.
movie.
Yeah, which I actually liked for what it was.
I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, so did I. Gibbs was real fast here, though.
That thing I keep saying people should be able to do.
Yeah.
身をして退避します。艦長、サラミス級2隻の強襲です。作業員収容次第退避行動へ。もう、ブリンジ、回答してくれ。俺たちにも撃たせろ。
Yeah, very exaggerated animation.
本艦は退避行動に入るところだが。何言ってるんだ。無罪は単艦、敵を迎え撃っているではないか。何のためだ。俺たちを守るためじゃないか。この船も建設。
So wait, these are Xeon? Sorry, I thought we were on an Earth Forces ship for some reason, but... It's just they don't look like Xeon uniforms at all.
変名補術長、
Because if they're saying the Musai is out there fighting alone, then it has to be a Xeon force.
Yeah.
登記された荷物のスピンに缶を合わせてください。技術や黙っとろ。あれはこの戦争の基礎を決める重要なものなんだ。じゃあ大砲屋の俺は。
I don't know what would be on the ship.
そんなこと。人の話を聞いたまえ。パパ、沈みます。
So much for that. And not a pink explosion this time.
See, the collar is right. The jacket's not.
このヨーツンヘイムにワルツを踊らせてでも必要なものなのか。
We spent all our money on the hair.
Oh, there goes that. Wow. These ships are really maneuverable.
I was thinking more about the fact that they broke up into triangles. Because
Yeah.
冗談でしょ。
yep, time to mosey on out of here.
11大破。
Yeah.
敵パトロール艦隊離脱していきます。
Well, you know, it answers whether the Xeons had space superiority this time. They were still contested.
Well, they didn't have superiority at all. They were 4 times outnumbered, remember?
Yeah.
This is before the Battle of Loum. Battle of Loum, they had... The Earth Federation had 4 times the fleet coverage that they had. But the mobile suit stuff hasn't been tested in a major combat scenario other than the moon.
Yeah.
オリバーマイ技術注意。本国より試験品目を受領し帰還いたしました。一時はどうなるかと思いましたが。ご苦労だった。ところで沈められたパプアの
Now, excuse me, I have a side appearance deal making a StarCraft video game.
Yeah.
まあ、ヨーツンヘイムが先に狙われなかったのはこの船が徴用された足の遅い船だったからに過ぎなかった。論理的です。私も得体の知れないもののためにこの船を危険にさらすわけにはいかない。今後、
Is it gonna be mobile suits? Is there... Well, she has the right hair
Yeah.
color. Wrong faction.
Yeah.
先の戦闘でのいきさつは聞きました。広告の独立のため
Oh, that voice is familiar. I don't know, but I've probably heard this particular voice actress before.
筆箱
I love the exaggerators. They're like, "Ooh, how dare you talk to me like that?"
Monique Cadillac. I come from space. I was actually hoping that she was going to be a character from the manga I read. I don't know why.
広告の財産を回収せず退避行動を取ろうとした本艦は適切な判断が欠如しているのでは。
Turns out it's a Klingon ship. You're going to have to fight me for command.
願います艦長。いえ、マルティン・プロホの中佐総統官。
Now that I've emasculated you in front of your whole... Sorry, you having a stroke? What's going on here?
I get the. Oh, so the reason is that he was a civilian captain because this was a transport ship.
Yeah, he
so he
basically
just
said
gives
that.
it-
He was basically
Yeah.
brought into service. But we're too slow, and I don't want my ship to get destroyed. That's what he said before.
Damn, he's huge too compared to her.
So he's old. Maybe he grew up on Earth.
新しく
No
編成
gravity.
される603技術試験隊には大変期待している。
はあ、技術本部長。
ついに開戦を決意した我々は一刻も早く最前線に新兵
Yeah, for any comparisons to World War II Germany, just cool. Kidding. Down to the background music.
Yeah, so I was right. I think they're transporting mobile suits. For some reason, I thought it was going to be like ore or something at the beginning. It's like, I don't know what ore could be so valuable.
Jotunheim 603.
技術試験か。さらには目付け役として総帥直属の特務隊員も乗り込むと聞く。
特務隊員。2階級への中佐扱いですね。
And you didn't have to die to get it. I'm guessing that's the great Degwin in the picture frame.
Yeah.
真に価値ある技術は正しく評価されるものと信じております。
では初の任務として603にこれを託す。
これは
I mean, I saw the frame of it. It didn't look like a mobile suit. I guess it's this thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure what it is. It looks like a missile missing a tip.
試作艦隊決戦砲ヨルムンガンド。敵主力艦をその射程外から狙い撃つ大蛇。
So a space sniper
その
rifle.
打撃力は連邦のマゼラン級をも一撃で撃沈できるはずです。QCX-76A 破壊力の秘密は核融合プラズマビームです。出力15万キロワット。アシストインジェクターが設置された200メートルもの長さの砲身でプラズモイドを噴出させるのです。
It's funny that we're seeing this in the show that apparently has the fastest moving ships we've ever seen.
破壊力は射程ギリギリでも大型艦砲の10倍以上と予測されております。
なるほど。これなら本国も絶大な期待を持つはずだな。
砲術長。
へへ。よろしく頼むぜ。技術屋さんたちよ。なんだ。
至急伝。進路変更勧告です。読みます。発第2艦隊当てヨーツンヘイム。機動作戦中域により速やかなる変身を望む。
What operation?
取りかじ左発展。
I guess also, is it still the 4th? Oh, Operation British.
Yeah.
Islandifish. But that's going to be happening for 8 more days?
これは何ですか。これは。
ブリティッシュ作戦。
Yep.
Yeah, it's Islandifish. Well, that must not be the 4th anymore. I can't exactly remember when. I know it happened sometime between the 12th and the 16th.
20 million.
特務隊員はいろいろとご存知のようですな。
Yeah, it's part of the special operations, part of my title.
作戦の詳細など総帥部から聞かされているわけがないではないか。
Yeah, we killed 20 million people in the colony, and we're gonna kill billions more on Earth. But you know.
No, I mean, we're all now essentially complicit in a war crime.
これは戦の邪道じゃないか。
It's arguable, though.
スペースノイドの住まい、コロニーさえも武器にしてしまった。
I like the fact that he's like, okay, I don't agree
Yeah,
with this.
see, like I said, time had to have jumped forwards based on what we know.
ジオン公国軍、地球連邦軍の双方はサイド5、通称ルームの中域に駒を進めた。
Well, that's what I meant about being arguable. Like the whole debate about, well, we already discussed pragmatism versus morality or ethics.
ジオン公国はブリティッシュ作戦の不満足な戦果に鑑み、
第二次ブリティッシュ作戦を決行すべくサイド5に艦隊を集結させると、この情報に開戦以来ルナ2に失速していた連邦艦隊もついに決戦を決意。総力
I mean, that's a bit of a change.
決戦の
To the reasons behind the Battle of Loum was to do a second Operation British.
No, but I think they did a Return of the Jedi where it's like, oh, hey, we're gonna tell you that we're gonna do this again.
I guess
And so the
technically, if they
Federation
hadn't
had to-
destroyed all those sides, God, it starts with M. Can't remember the name. Anyway, whatever side Island Iffish came from, that was the capital Banshai. If they had destroyed all the other ones, they could have just used those as additional.
Yeah.
The Great Degwin.
Yeah.
It's weird. The faces feel like a real CGI movie, but sometimes
Yeah.
the ships feel like a PS2 game.
艦隊決戦の遺憾はひとえに機関と新兵器の検討にあり。
変身艦隊からの正確なる関節射撃指示を望み艦車に変える。どうな。
I'm assuming none of these people make it to the year 80.
高濃度のミノスキー粒子を感知している。艦隊間レーザー通信を怠るな。ゲームの指導権はこちらにある。
Or do you now?
Again, 4 times the fleet size, you'd think. Not only 4 oh. I was about to point out there was 2 Great Degwin style ships there.
Mhm.
Also,
In this case, it would
I
be
wanted to
sailors,
indicate
not
the idea that
soldiers.
it's not only 4 times the fleet size, but they also have superior ships.
Mhm.
We already had shown that the Xeon ships are inferior to the Earth Federation ships.
Mhm. The thing is that this is the gunnery platform, and it's in space and their own spacesuits.
ヨルムンガンドのデータ受信用意よろし。
技術試験管
No
理では
boot play for
隊員
her.
に任せるのです。よろしく頼みます。
冷却剤準備よし。大砲や妙理に尽きるってものだ。初段装填。初段装填。
Maybe we could have designed the thing not to like spark like crazy every time it does
Also,
something.
wouldn't those movements also move the cannon out of position, right?
Yeah, conceivably, it could have like thrusters not working on the other side to negate everything. There's one thing I don't have a real problem with. It's Xeon engineering.
Mm.
They always seem to think of everything, except for how to win. Because conceivably, you could also argue every time they do a broadside, the whole fucking ship should shift to the side too.
Yeah.
This is also really stupid.
Yeah.
We know that the main Xeon ships are designed to take full-on shots and then deflect
Yeah.
them, even though they don't. So
Yeah.
doing broadsides with that design in mind means you're just negating all your defense.
我々を当てにしている証拠よ。でなければこんな戦い方なんて。
No, they're talking about it. Yeah. Why wouldn't they fight like this?
間もなく指示は届きます。少しの辛抱です。
If you fire now, though, they'll know you're a target.
くそ敵襲と千葉閉鎖がわからん。
すごい。
Damage, I guess, one ship.
Yeah, I mean, they also have a limited number of shots, so...
Yeah. Also, this is space. Well, I guess you got to be close in order to.
こちら観測機1号緊急発進のためオフサイドを無視する。撃つなよ。とりあえずどう飛べばいい？
直進全速で突っ込んでくれ。
あ
I don't know what was funny, but okay.
ヨルムンガンド我々の観測データを受信するまで待機されたい。
バカ野郎時期を逸しては。
接近警報なんだよ。
06
Mobile suits.
何
And Char, I guess.
赤いザク
この場を譲られたし、モビルスーツの襲撃は作戦計画にのっとった行動なり。
God forbid you're an epileptic Xeon officer.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess really showing off how Zaku's changed everything.
Yeah.
Especially given the how tall these things are, what, 18 meters? Versus the 200-meter weapon we brought here that we couldn't even use effectively.
Yeah.
That you had to
It's
set up
interesting.
and everything too.
It's interesting that in this sequence, and this happened in Radio Battle Loom, the Federation couldn't hit a single Saku. But when we go to the battle of what was the headquarters of the Federation, Yaburo, they are shooting down Sakus left and right with just regular artillery and missiles. I guess they got
they've
better
had
sensors.
several months of development.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd also indicate that this isn't the layout of the fleets at the Battle of
Yeah.
Loum that we saw before.
相手にもしても
They were head on in that battle.
Yeah.
今さら何言ってるんだ。俺たちは最初から冷や飯を食わされてるんだ。たとえ戦力外であろうと俺は撃つぞ。分かった
Well, you're an idiot. Well, it's great that they noticed you and shot at you now that you're no longer matter.
Yeah.
ヨルムンガンド手負いのマゼラン級がそちらに向かっている。直ちに退避してくれ。
艦長、作戦は中止が妥当だと考えます。
ヨルムンガンド砲術員は本艦に撤収せよ。急げ。
動
So hold the trigger, though. Assuming this thing can't even do anything anymore.
艦長、退避行動。本艦自体が危険です。救助のランチ、発進準備。
Don't leave anybody
ヨ
behind.
ルムンガンドの放棄も致し方ない。しかし、本艦の乗員を見捨てはしない。
It is to hold the trigger.
その力だな、艦長。俺もこのチャンスは。敵艦がこっちに来てくれるんだ。これなら観測なんていらん。
What, you mean when its silhouette would be the hardest to aim at?
Yeah.
無理だ。こんなことしたって本来のデータは。
いいんだよ、技術や。どうやらこれからはモビルスーツが主役のようだ。せめて大砲屋の時代の幕引きは俺にやらせてくれや。
At least until the next super weapon.
Wow. Yeah. That did a number on that ship.
Except it was pointless.
No, it saved.
It didn't go through. No, it didn't go through the ship. Meaning,
Yeah.
it implies that if it had hit any ship, it would stop with one ship. So it's a good weapon to take out one ship.
I like the filter to make it like, oh, so timey-wimey. Oh. Also, when they keep saying translated to sank ships, how you sink a ship in space? I would say destroyed would be the...
Ship rendered inoperable. It's considered sunk.
Yeah.
アマスさえ実戦運用せるアレクサンドロ・ヘンメ隊を失ったことは603技術試験隊にとって遺憾である。仮に同時に投入された他の機動兵器と同様の信頼を得ておれば結果はおのずと異なった可能性は。
I doubt it. The fact is that you needed observation ships to back you up. The Zaku's don't need
Yeah.
any of that. They're solo operational.
オリバー・マイ技術注意。ヨルムンガンドは以後どの戦場においてもその姿を確認されていない。
I mean, as part of mix of weapons, you may want to have one of those weapons in, you know.
I don't think
so. It's
so.
good to have a long-range weapon that can hit
No,
something.
as
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying, it needs
targeting.
an observation unit tied to it to even be workable. And the fact
モビルタンクヒルドルム603はこれを受領後地上試験を実施せよ。
軍人は腐ったら野良犬以下。
機動戦士ガンダム MS イグル
Mega
第
tank.
2話遠吠えは落日に染まった。
I was thrown because I was getting ready to keep talking, and that's because I thought we were going through end credits or something.
Yeah.
Instead, it was the next time on.
Mhm.
I guess this is the story of the weapons testing division.
Pretty much.
But no, what I was saying is it needs a observation team to even fire it,
Yeah.
which means you're wasting resources.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, it's a sitting duck. It's just a fucking
Yeah.
sitting duck. It's not. Apparently, you can't be too far away from the site of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like even an actual sniper rifle. It is just an artillery piece. Because you don't usually position your artillery too far away from the front line.
Yeah, depending on range. I think it would be more like an orbital bombardment weapon, I think would be more effective.
Except that, again, it's an orbital bombardment weapon that's so low in orbit that somebody on the ground can still conceivably shoot at it. Because they're firing, oh god, the words not coming to me. Well, momentum-based weaponry. For some reason, all my brain can think of. It's not like...
Kinetic weapons.
Yeah, kinetic weaponry. they're not like firing rockets or missiles up into space at it. It's effectively like somebody with a big enough gun could shoot your low orbit weaponry.
Yeah,
because that's what's going on. We see the shots coming from the Federation fleet still able to hit it.
Yeah, I think it's the problem with it is too complicated. Sorry, it's too complicated for what it's supposed to be, right? If it were a simpler weapon, easier to deploy in large numbers, no problem. But it has to be assembled. It doesn't go anywhere. The control unit is essentially a guy in an open cockpit in space, like, you know, which is also very vulnerable.
Well, it wasn't an open cockpit. It was open cockpit once it got hit. It got made into an open cockpit.
It was an open cockpit from the very beginning.
No, it got blown up. We saw the giant hole made in that. It was open to space, but it wasn't open to space. It didn't have an internal atmosphere.
No, it had.
No, it did. It was a full. It was a fully enclosed control room before. It obviously didn't have an atmosphere in it, but it was a fully enclosed control room before.
No,
and then it got take a hit. No, I saw it. I even made a comment about it. Look, I'm going to cut right here if you go back and investigate. I already told you. Remember, I control the editing.
Okay. Fine.
It's like, you can be right in the argument. I don't care. But if you go back and investigate to prove me wrong, fuck it, we're done. This is over.
Okay. I get it. It's fine.
I mean, that's what the notes are for. Bring this up again in the notes. Say, I looked at it. You're wrong. It's like, oh, it's the notes. I can't argue. This is the notes section.
With timestamps. Timestamps.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, otherwise, obviously I could see why you would make this, the weapon. Because you're testing all weapons. This is, again, World War II analog. The Germans are throwing out everything. Something's going to work.
Yeah. But it also shows what I said during, which was kind of a spoiler because I kind of knew that based on stuff that we're seeing here, essentially the obsession with super weapons that the Sion has from the very beginning, right? And they spend all these resources on these weapons that have limited capability.
Well, it's Amuro's fault.
Why it's Amuro's fault?
You always ask like so you don't remember the episode. When Amuro deserts, he goes and attacks the Zeon mine, and Kycelia and McQueeve are there, and that inspires them to increase spending on mobile armors and increase the research and production time on new mobile armors. Amuro's attack on that mine with the Gundam inspires the entire Zeon Research and Development Division to kick it up.
Oh, then good for Amuro then. All those resources could have gone into better mobile suits, but they didn't.
Well, they did. They went into different mobile suit designs, mobile armors, everything. The entire research and development of the Zeon projects got super sped up due to Amuro.
Yeah, but problem was if they had concentrated on a few good designs that they could replicate and improve rather than spending on these, very powerful designs that were difficult, took time to maneuver, to make and replicate, because we only see one-offs like McHugh's mobile suit, which was very powerful, but was a one-off. So
well, yeah, but you don't have any battlefield information to show which ones are effective to then mass produce or, refine their design. Literally every time one of them goes out, it's the first time it's gone out. Except for maybe the Elspeth, and that's the only one that we see more than once before its original fight.
Yeah. It too got destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that there's no, let's make this one, it works the best, if they don't try it first.
Yeah, but you still want to narrow your... If you're in a situation where your resource starvation for them wasn't minerals.
Well, they weren't actually starved for resources because we know
it was people.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that's by the end of the war.
Yeah,
by the end of the war, they're still throwing out people, which is the best and brightest. I mean, I don't know. I would argue that maybe they should have kept making the over-designed Zaku instead of going to a mass production model.
But the mass production models work for this Federation.
Did they?
Yeah.
I would argue that GM didn't have a real good history of success against anything.
I mean, not on 1-on-1, but no, in numbers with the balls, they actually did make a difference.
They did appear on screen. Yes, you are correct. That's one thing that they did. We never got
And
shown any shots of them succeeding. They just appeared in mass, and then we won that battle, even though we never saw the GMs or the balls winning any of the fights. Conceivably, the Zaku's are still far superior to a GM or a ball. Obviously a ball, but obviously to the GMs.
I mean, they had to win the battle somehow, so I guess they did win.
Oh, I mean, I think they won the battle because our main characters infiltrated the base and kind of instigated the entire death of everybody inside. You know, the fight with Char leads to Char blowing Caecilia's head off with a rocket. Caecilia kills Giran. Like, I don't know that the fight was won on the outside at all. Kind of at the end of the day, there's no leadership of that base anymore. Even Third Down got killed trying to get Caecilia out of the base.
Yeah.
It was a domino effect.
Yeah.
I would suspect if we pulled back, there's probably just a lot of surrendered Xeon soldiers on the outside who aren't getting any commands from the inside anymore, and, you know, probably afraid recruits.
I think they certainly had a manpower shortage, at least of people with expertise.
Maybe. I mean, surviving Federation soldiers versus new Xeon recruits. But again, I'm saying I don't put that up to the engineering skills of Xeon. I still think the Zaku is probably very far superior to the general model. Because the general model isn't even a reflection of the Gundam. It's a reflection of the Gundam's colors. That's about it.
I do like the GM.
So did I, in Gundam Evolution, and that was about it. Because it had a shield and could heal. I don't think those are things that are reflected in the GM's design in the show. I loved it when the GM walked around and threw balls at the ground that nanites healed itself with. That's my favorite part of the show. No, that's my favorite part of the game, because I like to be able to run around a corner, heal real quick, and then go back out to fight.
I mean, they did have shields in the show, for whatever.
Yeah, I have to believe that they would be less effective than the Gundam shield, and the Gundam shield gets cut in half all the time. Because I think the thing is that when you show a GM fighting, you're not going to focus on it for as long as you do the Gundam, which means that we don't need to waste time showing a GM shield get cut in half. No, the GM just fucking explodes.
They did a lot of Sakus, by the way.
I didn't hear what you said.
So did a lot of Sakus, so.
Yeah, to the Gundam.
No, to everything. I mean, again, when they were fighting Jaburo, they were exploding left and right, so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the camera was pointed at the center, so left and right would have been off screen, because I didn't see a lot of Zaku's exploding at Jaburo.
Oh, they will be taken out pretty regularly. In fact, I made that comment. It's like, wow, the Sakus are taking a pounding.
Sorry, you said Jaburo. I'm still thinking Abaco or Solomon.
No, I'm talking about Jaburo. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't count. I don't care about that. That one, that was an under-staffed assault that we know, because Char took all the forces from North America, which apparently wasn't enough. And they weren't, like, attacking with the... I didn't want to use the desire, but desire is not the right word. They weren't planning to win. I don't remember what it's called. It's one of the American military doctrines that when you're planning to go to war, you plan to win, which means allocating all available resources required to achieve that goal to the task at hand. And Char did not do that. Char knew he didn't have the resources to win the fight, but he launched the assault anyway. I want to say Weinberger Doctrine?
Yeah, I think. No. What's the Secretary of the Navy? I think it's a Powell Doctrine, actually.
I don't think so.
I guess he's doing the editing, so you can do the search.
Stop being a hypocrite, Theta. No. This isn't this is a we're both asking a question thing. This isn't a debate.
No. Go ahead. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about me. Don't go ahead.
Weinberger Doctrine asserts that the United States should not commit forces to combat unless the vital national interests of the United States or its allies are involved. U.S. troops should only be committed wholeheartedly and with the clear intention of winning. Otherwise, troops should not be committed. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. U.S. troops should be committed only with clearly defined political and military objectives and with the capacity to accomplish those objectives. The relationship between the objective and the size and composition of the forces committed should be continually reassessed and adjusted if necessary. U.S. troops should be committed to battle with a reasonable assurance of the support of U.S. public opinion in Congress, and the commitment of U.S. troops should be considered only as a last resort. Yeah, so it was Weinberger Doctrine I was thinking of. I don't know what Powell Doctrine is, so...
The Powell Doctrine states that the list of questions all have to be answered affirmative before military action is taken by the United States. Is a vital national security interest threatened? Do we have a clear attainable objective? Have the risks and costs been fully and frankly analyzed? So it's actually called the Powell-Weinberger Doctrine.
Well, it just seems like Powell added his name to the Weinberger Doctrine. I mean, either that or he just shortened the list and added his name.
Or others.
Well, Weinberger came before Powell, so...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was the Secretary of the Navy during the Reagan administration. Well, was he? Yeah, he was.
See, mine doesn't come from, like, actual knowledge of military history. I think back when I was doing Star Wars role-playing games, I had a whole forum for, like, tactics and whatnot to use in the role-playing game stuff. And I had 2 listed American doctrines for consideration for when to use my forces in the game. So I just had that posted, and I just remember that for the thread that I made about it.
There you go. So, what were your thoughts on IGLOO Part 1?
I mean, it was interesting. It's good to see what Xeon Matilda is up to. Even though apparently I don't suspect we're going to see her again. Seems like that's ruined her career. But I guess better to have your career ruined at the start of the war.
I guess so. Or either have your cockpit smashed by a Zaku.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do, right? If she is an engineer, well, no, she's special operations. She could conceivably get forced into a Zaku before the end of the war for having failed in what she was doing here. Or she could go back to, like, a drawing board of engineers and be responsible for stuff that's happening behind the scenes elsewhere and then not get sent to the front lines. I mean, my point being, you don't want to fail so hard that you get sent to the front lines.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? A character played by Rowan Atkinson, 4 seasons. Blackadder, season 4.
The last season, yeah. He was Captain Blackadder. Yeah.
Yeah, back, what is the other guy's name? He hosted QI for multiple seasons.
Yeah, he played General...
Stephen Fry.
Yeah. Stephen Fry played General...
Yeah, Stephen Fry, who keeps wanting to send everybody to the front lines.
Yeah.
That's just the thought that comes to mind. You don't want to fail so hard that you have to go see Stephen Fry's character and he'll be like, good news, sending you to the front.
Yeah.
We're going over the top.
The last episode was...
Yeah.
So one of the British television.
Except that they then made Blackadder specials that happens after that, kind of ruining the legacy.
Yeah, well, they made 2 movies, I think it was.
Not movies, they're like just special TV episodes.
Yeah, Blackadder's ruins Christmas and something else. I don't know which one was.
Yeah. I'm just saying, though, if you want to remember Blackadder, remember it for its final episode charge over the top. You know, what if we get a Splinter? Would have been good 10 minutes ago. And then pan back to what it looks like today, sort of thing. Yeah. But you don't want to remember it for its 2 TV specials that came out after the fact. You remember Blackadder? Oh yeah, I remember when he time traveled through Christmas.
Yeah, which was kind of fun, but
yeah, sure, but not the last thing I would remember about Blackadder.
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, I think that's it for this episode. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?